eyes on, and this is the IEBC. Yesterday, they had called all presidential candidates or their representatives to come and have a briefing. And from the meeting they had, it looked like there was no progress whatsoever that was made. It ended up being an interesting altercation between IEBC and the candidates, asking, why did you call us here if your minds are already set?
I mean, the thing is, it spells a lot of mistrust among us Kenyans just a few days to the elections, because there are those who say the papers can be printed locally, but there are those who say, yes, we can print them locally, but for matters of trust or mistrust for that matter, let's have it done outside the country. So I wonder whether they will reach a consensus and whether time allows for this to be done from outside the country.
Absolutely, because, you know, we only have 27 days to go before the elections. And here we are still back and forth between the presidential candidates and the IEBC. And one of the key things that I'm not sure we'll be able to achieve, it remains to be seen, is just that trust between the contenders and the main players and the IEBC.
Absolutely. And on page 4 of the paper there, Nkaissery, heart attack, but what triggered it? So preliminary results show that Nkaissery suffered an acute heart attack due to a compromised blood vessel, and they say, as it stands, they do not see any, anything that indicates foul play. So we'll be waiting and see whether the other report will show anything different.
Yes, the report given yesterday was very clear that so far they do not suspect or have any inclination towards there being foul play. It is what would be called an act of God, and this was a heart attack, which of course shocked the country come Saturday morning.
All right, and let's move on to page 12, or page 14 rather, to our cartoon of the day. And this is quite an interesting one. Talking about, so gentlemen, how about we toss the coin on this issue? This is IEBC seemingly involving public participation on the ballot printing tender. And so one player, and this looks like Uhuru Kenyatta, says, I may have one from Dubai.
And there's also another player who says, are we using a local coin to toss the coin? But the truth of the matter is they're all on a deck of cards. So it's bound to come down anytime soon. And this might go on forever, according to Wanjiko. There's Wanjiko right at the bottom there, of course, very tiny, but looking at it and thinking, well, this may go on forever. The problem is
we don't have forever. We have 27 days, even less when we're talking about the ballot printing. So that is rather interesting. So let's move on to the, this is page 7 of the paper in the My Government Weekly Review. Why Kenya's export prospects are bright. So Kenyans stand to benefit from stronger growth in the East African region, as it is well positioned to take advantage of the rising demand for manufactured goods. So something here that is likely to boost whatever is in the pockets of the banks of Kenyan traders.
Absolutely. If you go back a little bit to page 21, I think these are people that sometimes are really forgotten. And, well, it's talking about lending a helping hand. And this is the women behind the politicians that we see on a daily basis. And that's Decision 2017. It's actually an interesting article. They hunt for votes relentlessly, but you will not catch them being foul-mouthed or stabbing their opponents in the back. And that, I think, is a very important thing to look at as Kenyans, because you'll find that we have the three that are depicted here. We have Uhuru Kenyatta's wife. We also have Rachel Ruto and Ida Odinga. They're very, very united. You'll often see them together and never, speaking ill against each other. But when it comes to their husbands, then a lot more would be desired in terms of how they speak about each other.
Quite a few things to learn there. Let's take a look now at the Daily Nation and see what's making headlines there. On the front page, Serem cuts salaries in tough job changes. We've taken a look at that. That conversation will be continuing in our dawn debate. But on the front page of the Nation, they have a very interesting brief of how much money has been slashed from each position, all the way from the president to the member of county assembly. So you might want to grab a paper, your copy of that, to see the new salary figures.
Of course, and one of the questions that we'd like to find out, even as we continue with that dawn debate, is what difference does that make for you and me? Because at the end of the day, fine, we've